Welcome to PolyCast, a Civilization podcast focused on game strategy. Dan Q.
Makalua.
The Me and Team.
Mad Jin.
With guest co-host
Blooper Fackle. Okay, just let me know when.
Yep, we're just going to sit on the call for about 60 minutes. Say nothing.
Yep.
Best episode ever.
Right. Okay. Welcome to episode 262. I'm Blooper Fackle, and joining me today is Daniel Quick.
What is up with you?
It's a blower.
A blower.
Indeed. Hey.
Hey.
Hey, Flackle.
Magin.
Coffee.
The Me and Team.
Greetings to all the listeners.
And Mackie will be joining us later in the show.
I have to say that I'm a little bit thankful for this assignment because it finally gave me an incentive to actually go look at the Civ 6 stuff, and I am off the fence now.
You go.
It wasn't that I was never going to get it, it's just that the most of my Civ playing was with 5 and Beyond Earth, and both of those were deeply broken until at least one expansion. So I was kind of thinking, they'll probably do the same thing again with this one. But apparently not so much.
Ah.
A quote-unquote first look at France. So there's a short video talking about the French special stuff and their amazing, super great leader. Actually, I think she might be pretty amusing in the game. Catherine. But not the Catherine we knew and quote-unquote loved from like Civ 4, but rather the Italian become French one. So
The mother of France.
Mother of France, yes. And they have a unique unit that copies the American home continent thing and gives them great general points. And then they have the chateau again, which I watched the video and I already forgot what it does because I don't care about that crap. I just want to shoot things. So
It's got to be built near a river. It provides extra culture and special bonuses for being in vicinity of wonders. Apparently,
Right, that stuff
gold
I don't
and
care
extra
about.
culture.
wonders are something other people build and then I take with units. But I guess is when I'm fighting France, I want to let them build those first, maybe if they don't start too close.
People have teased out her agenda from the various videos. She loves espionage.
Oh yeah, and she actually has a bonus towards that as well. You get an extra spy with Castle, and
Yes, her flying squadron.
real surprise that she likes espionage.
And one thing I'm kind of curious about is they mention that she gets additional diplomatic information for every foreign civilization met, but they very helpfully don't tell you what the extra information is.
And I guess on that note, we can also cross-reference that spies are units now, again, because people saw that in the videos.
Just like in the old days.
Well, it's better than a thing that's not even part of the game, but really kind of on the side, and
Yeah,
it's just menuing.
and usually there's some good troll potential in espionage, so I approve.
Mm-hmm.
Can I poison water supplies again?
We don't know.
Ah, man.
Yeah, and that's ultimately going to be the big thing for me as to whether or not I'll even care about the espionage stuff, because it just seemed like this sort of micromanage-y way in Civ 5 and to some extent Beyond Earth to get ahead on the research curve and not really do anything else useful. So I'm hoping that we can see a little bit more stuff that's not just a stupid gimmick. That'd be great.
In Civ 4, you could use it as a catch-up mechanic. It had a place in the game otherwise, but it was only minor.
For Catherine's agenda, Black Queen gains as many spies and as much diplomatic access as possible. Does not like civilization to ignore those espionage activities.
Oh,
So-
man, she doesn't just gossip. She gets mad at you if you don't gossip.
Exactly.
Ugh.
Yeah, be careful. Of course, you can get different access levels from a variety of things. People have managed to see some of that in some of the videos, but it doesn't exactly say everything. Although one of the tips in the access levels, which people found and is entirely amusing, promptly quit and go play as France. That's actually in there. Go play as France is the tip to get better diplomatic access. It's just so bad. It's like, hi, I want better diplomatic access with you in this game. Nope, screw you, quit, go play as France. It'll be
Sure,
better
it'll
that way.
be exactly that in the release build as well.
Oh dear.
Yep.
Yeah, it seems like they're really kind of building this Civ to be kind of defensive, kind of mid-game, fairly tall. I'm a little worried about how restricted they are as far as like a lot of their stuff needs to be built near rivers and whatnot. They're really not encouraged to spread outside of their home continent, at least if they want to get the most out of their guard units. It seems like they're prime targets to rush down during the early game.
Possible, but I would say for the continent one, that basically means by the mid game when things start getting more nasty, they aren't going to have problems on their own homeland, or they can just run anybody over. Like if they basically forwarded up and then waited for that wonder spamming moment in time that they have, that they'll have units that can protect those wonder spamming locations.
Mm-hmm.
Although it does look like those unique units are actually better than America's because you get a bigger bonus, I think.
Well, it is the unique unit, not like a game-long ability, so...
Yeah.
Between the extremely mid-game focus and all those spies, it just seems like if I see them anywhere in my vicinity, I'm probably going to target them first, because otherwise I can really see this becoming a pain in the butt to deal with later.
Well, you don't know what the other civs can do to you yet, though.
Well, that's the thing. We don't know what diplomatic visibility totally gets you. I think there's some screenshots of what you can get, but how important it would be, especially in multiplayer games. What do you get to know about other human players?
Mm-hmm.
And if it's stuff that you would be able to find out, if it's AI or player, then that automatically makes it a useful bonus. But if it's just stuff that, say for Civ 5, where it's what's their agenda or
Plotting.
what are they plotting, then that's not going to help at all. So yeah, that Diplo visibility thing's really going to depend on how integrated it is for human players, not just AI.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently, according to at least one article on millennium.org, the chateau earns bonus gold when adjacent to luxury resources.
Ooh.
Fancy.
Yeah, I'm just afraid that they might get a little screwed if you remove start biases, because obviously they really need to be next to a river to get any kind of mileage out of that district.
Well, I think the way we've been seeing, and especially with like other systems, rivers are going to be important for everybody, not just for specific things.
Yeah, I suppose that's true. I mean, they said that your housing limit is going to be limited by access to fresh water, so, I mean, I guess everybody's going to get hurt by that.
Yeah, that could be one of those bigger issues in the game. I random into a game and I've got no fresh water, so I can't grow my capital.
Mm-hmm.
Screw you, restarting.
Yeah, that could be unfun if you have enough people in the game all wanting to restart.
Yep. Brasilia! He's in!
Yeah, apparently.
There you go. We got
Well,
Brazil.
surprising to see him in the original list, but hey.
I thought the
Yeah.
same. That was a curious choice.
Well, yeah. There's some question of, maybe it was because of the Olympics that they got in. And then people are like, wait, Brazil's in, but Portugal's not? What the crap?
That'd be some kind of foresight to like be in the game development. Like, you know what? When we're going to release this game a few years from now, there's going to be the Olympics, so let's put in Brazil. Now, I think it's just because it's a large market, and they were in the previous game, so...
Yeah.
Yeah, part of it's coming about, hey, it took the second expansion pack for Civ 5 for Brazil to come about, and now we're going to have Brazil from the start.
Yeah. Pedro II is back.
Looking younger. Did he find the Fountain of Youth?
Yeah, right.
Maybe.
Must have.
Yep. Rainforest Tiles provide +1 adjacency bonus for campus, commercial hub, holy site, and theater districts, which is a lot of different types of districts.
Yeah.
Of course, he will probably have a rainforest bias, which means lots. Rainforest Tiles provide +1 housing for neighborhoods built adjacent to them. And we haven't really heard a lot about neighborhoods, but apparently, I think in one of the videos, it showed that you could actually have more than one neighborhood per city. So
We'll just file that under amenities that we talk about them.
Yep.
That they're there. We really don't know what they are, though.
yeah, we'll just file that later. Let's see, that's your science, that's your money, that's your religion, and that's your culture. So they get pretty good bonuses for having rainforests in the neighborhood. And they even showed in the video, like, a holy site near rainforest, or near a few hexes of rainforest gets pretty decent adjacency bonus.
Mm-hmm.
Now, granted, we don't know exactly how much that adjacency bonus is going to affect your yield or what it does long-term in the game. Obviously, there's the idea that you want the best adjacency bonuses ever, so higher number is better, but we haven't seen a lot of the buildings or anything, or if they, like, multiply the adjacency bonus or whatever. So we'll still have to work on that. basically is pretty good idea to not burn down your rainforest, unlike in maybe Civ 5 where it's like, what's this crap? Get rid of it.
Or unlike reality, I guess.
Well, little detail. Leader bonus, Pedro II is magnanimous, of course. After recruiting or patronizing a great person, 20% of the great person point cost is refunded. Now, recruiting is just using your generalized great person points that you build up over time, and patronizing can be done either through gold or faith. And so therefore, you get 20% of the great person points back, which, if they have escalating costs, means that over time, the more people you recruit or patronize, the more you get back, which means you get a 20% head start on, well, maybe a little less than 20%, but you get a head start on everybody else for the next one.
I found that one to be a little underwhelming just because it's like, okay, how rapidly are these costs going to scale? Because if they scale lots between each jump, then, okay, what's this 20% receipt actually do as far as like the next one? You know what I mean?
Well, I would assume it's refunded and therefore placed against the next one.
Sure, but it may not mean much if it scales extremely quickly, you know?
But at the same time, the great person pool is game-wide now, as opposed to based on an individual civ. So if Brazil's in the game, and I know Brazil is in the game, I'm looking at you, buddy. You're going to steal my great people. I don't like that.
Your great people?
Well, yes, exactly. They took it right out of my hands. Although I must say, was I the only person that, when I first saw patronizing a great person, I thought, so if I say, yeah, you're a great person, whatever, then I'm gonna get the cost refunded. That sounds great.
And considering you can patronize with faith or gold, and you get huge bonus adjacency for your commercial hubs and holy sites for being next to rainforests, that could easily start just chalking up a bunch of extras that you may or may not have a lot of great person points of the base generation for particular districts. You might be able to out money or out faith people and just start buying them all.
Right, yeah, I find that the unique ability for the Civ is a lot more interesting to me than the unique ability for the leader, if only because it's very customizable and very powerful, at least from the videos that I had seen. If you get the right start, and wow, can this guy get screwed by disabling start bias? If you get the right start, you can do anything you want with this Civ.
Unless if we're comparing it to Civ 5, except maybe production. Fair enough, if you're going to be given all these other choices, you got to give them something to give them a chance.
Yeah, there may be a little less production to build those things next to the rainforest. So, little detail there.
In the case of the entertainment district replacement, the Street Carnival, seeing as how it was also disclosed that if a civilization has a unique district, they can build it in half the time, maybe it won't hurt so bad that Brazil may have production issues in the jungle.
Yep. And on that note, it's another great person booster. Special Carnival project holds an elaborate festival which makes citizens more happy and then helps uncover talented individuals. So +2 amenities for the city while the project is being worked, which could be a nice thing, especially if you've got, say, war weariness kicking in and reducing your amenities. Like, we're at war, everybody's upset. Screw it, let's have a party.
To reference myself in the last episode, that's +2 toilets, folks. That's what the amenities are. Yeah.
And then at the end of that, you earn great artist, engineer, merchant, musician, writer points upon completion. So that's a bunch of great people types that you can gain points from.
So yeah, it's not clear. Does that mean that at the end you earn great people points for all of those? Not as in you get to choose one and focus it?
It just seems, I don't know, it just seems to be all of them. So you need to be throwing parties constantly if you're Brazil.
Although I guess it makes sense if you're going to get great people points to all of those things when you look at the adjacency bonuses for the different districts. Okay, the great artist and the theater district and the commercial hub for the great merchant. I notice there isn't great scientist on here, and you get an adjacency bonus for a campus. But I guess at some point they had to say enough is enough, because that is a lot. Plus we also don't know, you earn 2 points. We don't know what if it's a percentage, it's an absolute number, we have no idea.
Yeah, or how many. Obviously it has to be worth it to actually do the project. Though I guess if they give you 2 amenities, depending on how important that is, while you're running the project, that alone could be useful depending.
From the videos that I was seeing with the first 100 to 150 turns or so, it seemed like people were getting into like the -1, -2 amenity range. So this could probably pretty easily push back against getting you sliding into that slow negative. So that's nice.
Yeah, but I guess on that front, if you're sliding barely into the negative amenities, what it looks like. If you go negative amenity, you lose yields. But then you start this project, so you go back up, and your people are happier. But the problem is you're running the project, so you can't use those amenities to keep your yields up while you build something else.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a, like, I need some stability while I figure out how to fix this.
Yeah, or I really, really, really want that next great something that'll help fix my problem.
Oh, definitely.
So
yeah.
stay happy for a little while.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, finally, Brazil has a unique unit. It is the Minas Gerais, and don't mind my Spanish.
Oh, God. You're Spanish.
Thank you, Ed.
Quote
You're
unquote.
welcome. Oh, we'll have to talk about that later. But
Yes.
Yeah, well, that's in the very next topic. We'll return to this.
yeah, we'll return to that bad comment later. Anyways, it is a unique battleship that requires nationalism, which I think is on the civic side.
Yes.
Yeah, versus the tech for battleships. So if you are highly cultured, you can get a decent battleship that has improved defense and ranged attack by plowing through culture versus plowing through science. 5 movement, melee strength 70, range strength 80. These are all numbers that are relative to other stuff. Like the ironclad above it, base strength 60. So it has more melee strength than the ironclad and got 20 more range strength than the ironclad has base strength. And of course, it's 3 range because it's a battleship. So yeah, if you focus culture, you can get to your battleships faster than maybe somebody who goes tech. Or can you do both? Have battleships and special ships. Because one's a tech, one's a civic. Of course, if you're in the middle of a rainforest, there's not a lot of water in the middle of a rainforest. So you better hope you get your coastal.
Here's the cool thing that they introduced. I don't know if you guys have covered this in previous episodes. You don't have to found a city right on the water anymore.
Mm-hmm.
As long as you can dump a district into your 3-tile range, dump a harbor in there, and you're good to go. So, you no
Yes,
longer have
yep.
to necessarily keep a city like within prime shooting range of somebody else's navy.
Mm-hmm.
We have mentioned it on previous episodes, but it's good to mention again.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yes, you don't have to be directly on it. But say you're in the middle of a continent, because that's where all the rainforest is, you might have problems. But I guess that's actually a good thing. This unit, after maybe damaging or destroying or sitting on top of your harbor, because might as well, if you're going to be a jerk like that, still shoot the city center, because it's 3 range attack.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas probably other ones wouldn't be able to, because you put the city center far enough away that you don't have to worry about it.
Yeah, this is definitely a pretty cool, unique unit, I think. I mean, who doesn't like the ability to have ranged artillery that is difficult to actually deal with, And it hits like a truck by the sound of it, so.
Mm-hmm. We'll have to see a comparative, though.
I also find it interesting that its prerequisite is not a technology, but a civic, to parallel the tree.
That's definitely very cool, too. I'm liking the encouragement to diversify or play kind of untraditionally. That appeals to me.
The rainforest people have spotted in the game is either 2 food, 1 production, and others are 3 food. So it may have something to do with hill or not hill, or what's underneath it. Because I was reading through a variety of threads, and they're starting to notice that the quote-unquote features, which is usually forests and other stuff like that, don't seem to be replacing the yields of the base tile. They seem to just be pure addition.
Yeah.
So it looks like we might have a slightly nicer base yield stuff, which is quite nice.
And smart.
Yeah, also makes rainforest not so horrible.
Exactly. Yeah, I don't have to sit there and twiddle my thumbs and go, okay, do I want to clear this out and screw myself out of science later? Or, well, shit.
Or it could be like the earlier civs where it was just, well, I'm screwed. There's no later benefit.
We will now present exclusively our take on the first Civ 6 live stream.
Right.
You heard it here first and only here first, yo.
Yeah.
Because we're making it up as we go. Wait, what? No, we never do that. We never do that.
No,
That's
we don't.
stupid. The first Civilization 6 live stream, which was Brazil, which we've already been, of course, talking about Brazil in some parts of the live stream. It was led by lead designer Ed Beach, who, of course, led the design on the 2 Civilization 5 expansion packs, and senior gameplay designer Anton Strenger, both from Firaxis.
It's a big day, a big week for Civ 6. Everyone has sort of started releasing video content. Good look at playing up to 150 turns. This is a build from about a month ago, so there's a lot that's different in like the newest builds that we've been playing. wanted to play the same build that the press has seen over their tour events that we've had across the world. This is basically a build that exactly matches.
Yes. Ed mentioned he was trying to pronounce something and said, essentially, pardon my Spanish. Oops. He meant pardon my Portuguese. Whoopsies. Which was quick to be pointed out in the comments in the Civ community.
And everywhere else.
We had to pick a civilization from the 8 that we've announced to live stream with you guys today, and we decided that the right choice was to go with somebody else who's having a big week this week, and it's a big week for Brazil, just like it's a big week for Civ 6.
Yeah.
So turn 45, I got the first great profit in the game, so that seemed like a perfect time to really explain the way the religion system works. The other thing that I thought we would do today, I used to play in Civ 3 succession games. I haven't played a lot of succession games since then, but to get a team of people and someone starts off, and I think it was usually 10 turns, you explain what your rationale for everything was, and then you hand it off to the next player.
It's a new leader in charge.
Right, and you may not get it back, the game back for like 50 or 60 turns. Lots usually going on by the time you get it back. So I thought that Anton and I would play this sort of succession game style. I'm going to play 5 turns, hand it back over to Anton.
In terms of information that was revealed, where do we want to start?
You have to end your turn when you promote.
Yeah.
You can't promote and then move.
They recognize that in Civ 5, the promotion to get healed was a false choice. So now you just get that heal no matter what.
Yeah. So it takes up your remaining turn. It gives you health. It doesn't seem to give full health. It just gives a bunch.
Half health.
Yeah, half health. So you've got that. Plus you get the promotion, but you get stuck there, which I guess for multiplayer, Civ 5 multiplayer, when it came to promotions, was like really annoying if you were having a big old fight, because you'd get the pop-ups for the stupid promotions and you'd have to do those before you could do anything else, which could lead to situations, that you're clicking to something to promote it, but then the other person doesn't have to promote, so they can just kill you before you actually press the button to promote. So in this case, you could not do the promotion right away. You can save it, so you can still do your stuff, but if you don't promote, you don't get more experience, which I think is a nice balance.
Mm-hmm.
I just have this realism thing in the mind. It's like, okay, I've got these new things to add to my weapons. You're in the middle of a field. Just give me a minute, guys. I got to upgrade this stuff, and then I'll fight you. Don't worry about it. Well, why is this blade sticking through my chest? Why did you backstab me? I was busy in the... So yes, wait until you're safe, as it were, to actually apply those promotions. That would be good.
Yeah, it probably depends on, is this unit safe enough? Is it just going to get, you heal a little bit and you're going to get your promotion, but will that promotion help you against, the 4 horsemen that are sitting around you already?
Right, but on the other hand, hey, maybe these 1 or 2 units, I can stave them off with this promotion that will give me 50 more hit points and the defense bonus.
Yeah.
And I knew someone was going to bring this up. Alphashar did in the chat. There was an option to save promotions in Civ 5. You guys never used it.
Yeah.
Okay, first off, never is a long time, and I did employ that option. However, the fact that you actually had to go and enable that as an option, I mean, yes, it's good that it's there already by default, because then you don't have to worry about, oh my gosh, I got to promote this unit before I do something with it. Oh crap, it got squished. And I know you might just say, well, that's just an MP-specific circumstance. Not many very people play MP. Well, this is just done for you from the outset.
Don't forget that was initially not, you could store by default initially, and they pulled that. They made it a toggleable option after they nerfed it out.
Yeah.
Apparently thought it was not good for their balance in 5.
Mm-hmm. Being able to save promotions.
Yeah. You could make a case that was pretty well justified.
Yep.
And I take it before, Blower, when you say when you take a promotion and you get half healed to the difference between whatever your strength is and full?
Oh,
strength?
no. It's every unit has 100 hit points just like previously. And so when you promote, you get 50 of them. Hey, if I had 24 hit points, now I have 74.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that it's possible, yes, that you could be healed up back to full health if you weren't low enough. Okay, all right.
Yeah. I think that's probably a nicer way to do it for now. Now, granted, we'll just wait to see what happens and see what the problems might be in that.
There's always the issue of unintended consequences, of course.
I have upgraded my government to Classic Republic.
Nice.
So the great thing about that is I'm getting 15% bonus to great person generation, and that bonus will ratchet up the longer I spend here.
Right. That probably helped you with your early profit as well.
Yes. But the downside is I don't have any military policies at all.
No.
So we're getting no bonus against barbarians, and our scouts aren't earning bonus experience. So.
You could use that wild card for it, but yeah, it's a trade-off.
And actually, that's the good point, is because in the wildcard slot, I have had the great profit generation policy. I don't need that anymore. Right. So we should look at making a government change this turn. Okay, there's a good question here in the chat. How come government choices don't launch you into anarchy?
Oh, wow.
And they can launch you into anarchy. Okay. We don't ever really want to encourage players to swap back and forth, min-maxing governments, so that you're like trying to like, okay, I need this government for 5 turns, and I'm going to go back to this one for 5 turns, and I'm going to go back to this other one for 5 turns. Mm-hmm. So what we do is anytime you're returning to a government that you've been in before, your people look at that as just like going backwards, and there's anarchy if that occurs. But anytime you go into a government for the very first time, it's like a smooth transition. So that's one of those things. Maybe we'll adjust it based on some more of the balance testing we're doing, but at the moment we kind of like that system.
It seems like that this game is being developed a lot more thoughtfully than the previous two.
And of course, by previous 2, you are talking about Civilization Beyond Earth and Civilization 5, not Civilization 5 and Civilization 4. Just in case anyone listening going, what? Just to be clear,
4 wasn't perfect on launch either.
No.
Definitely not on launch, no.
That's not the claim being made, but yes, absolutely.
My gosh, if Civ 6 has functional multiplayer when it releases, it might be the first one.
Yeah. That's just something totally different.
4, after many patches, got pretty good to the point where you could actually have a large number of people in a game without it like nuking on you. But when it first started, man, that out of sync. But Civ 5 is just as bad, if not worse, on release in terms of the actually being able to finish a game you start.
Otherwise, from the live stream video, it was confirmed.
Repair eats up a worker charge. It actually does not.
It does end his turn.
It does.
Yeah, we had thought about it using up a charge, but it's a little tough. You get enough pillaging going on. Pillaging is very cool in this game because every different type of improvement and every different type of district can give you a different yield. So if you pillage a campus, for instance, you actually can earn science out of that. So
you steal all their books.
Yeah, exactly. That tends to mean it happens a fair amount. We decided we didn't want the builders to take a whole charge just to do a repair.
Yeah, and especially given, if the builders are getting more expensive the more you build them, oh God, that would be horrifying.
Yep.
That too.
Yeah.
It would be a really, really, really big beatdown on ICS. I dare you to have a massive quantity of tile improvements. Don't mind me, or just run through and pillage everything, and you just cannot afford to repair anything. Have fun with that.
Enjoy your 12 cities that can do nothing.
Because you can't even build a builder. There was religion in the live stream?
Yeah, there was, and I loved everything that I heard about it, actually.
What we want to do with him is we want to send him to our holy site so he can found the religion. And part of the reason that we're doing so well in the religion game is we've got this really sweet holy site. It's got 2 mountains on 2 sides and getting a +4 faith adjacency bonus from it.
Which means you need to have a holy site.
Well, I would hope you have to have a holy site to have a religion.
Well, seeing as how they put holy sites in the game, yes. But I can see some people like, okay, I got my great prophet. How come I can't found my religion? The game's broken. Mm-hmm. Okay, well, let's rewind just a little bit here.
So, religion, how does it work? It's similar to Civ 5, but sort of everything has been tweaked a little bit. Again, religions can have up to 4 beliefs in them. It used to be in Civ 5 that the Pantheon belief was built into the religion, and now that's sort of a separate player level attribute.
And the really nice thing about this is that your pantheon is your pantheon regardless of what your religion is, whether it's your religion or religion spreads to you. You keep your pantheon.
I love that choice so much.
Much less annoying.
Yeah.
And everyone gets them at the same point.
Yay! No random crap.
MP, I don't have faith for a pantheon. What happened? Oh, who else had it?
Mm-hmm.
Who else had it? Who clicked before me?
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. None of that crap.
Ugh.
Just another reason why, like I said, it seems like they're being a lot more thoughtful about this sort of thing. They actually looked at all of the hate and frustration that Bert and Civ 5 had, and they're kind of tweaking and adjusting. And I'm liking what I'm seeing out of this the more I look into it.
And one of them stole Sacred Path from. Well, or that could be someone else.
Yeah, I'm not sure who stole Sacred Path. That's something that's interesting. You only find that out if you have met that Civ. So you have a gossip channel with them when they found the Pantheon.
Get some visibility, right?
And I didn't have that yet, so I don't actually know who has that. I have gone ahead and I've sent out delegations to each of these leaders
It's a good way
to give us the limited gossip access level. That means that if there are any diplomatic modifiers affecting our relationship, I'll see those.
So you get your first great prophet, or only a great prophet, looked like. There was a bit of a big old question about that. You get a great prophet. You get great profit points, and then you get a great profit. But there was a screenshot where somebody had 800 and some odd of 20 or 60 or whatever great profit points, and they couldn't take another great profit, which seems really goofy that you could keep generating great profit points if you can't use it anymore. So maybe there's some other use for them other than getting a profit.
Knowing that it has been live streamed to the world is hopefully not the first time they notice it. If it's like that when the game is shipped, this will be referred back to, and you guys should have known.
Now, as far as the other 4 beliefs go, the first thing you have to do is pick a follower belief. The reason for that is, if you think about the religion system, you don't want just the person who founded the religion to get all the benefits. You want, as he spreads it over other cities and other empires, that those people are going to be picking up benefits from it as well. So it insists that that follower belief be part of the very first foundation of that religion. So there's 7 follower beliefs in the game. And then for your second choice of a belief, you only get 2 out of the 4 beliefs from founding the religion. The second choice is wide open.
Yeah.
So you can choose anything. There are 7 beliefs of a new type that we just introduced for Civ 6, and that's what we call the worship beliefs. And those are kind of, what's your house of worship going to be like? So that's where the cathedral, the mosque, the pagoda, the wat, all these choices are considered a worship belief.
And it looks like the buildings, instead of going, okay, now we have to found our religion really quickly so we can go mass building, bam, for my religion. No, you get exactly 1. And every religion gets 1. So there's enough worship buildings in there, but they're in their own class so that no one can take 2.
Right.
And of course, that sort of makes sense since buildings are on the map in the district, and each district looks like it only has enough art for a couple things. And you already have the shrines and the temples in there. So obviously throwing a worship building in there for its own art would make sense. So yes, you can pick what you want right off the mark, and then they didn't really talk about how you get more, though.
Yeah, I think that they just didn't have enough turns in the time that they had to actually really show off everything that they were planning to.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so how many people are going to get missionary zeal and use their missionaries so they can ignore the cost of terrain and explore with it?
Only one sending them to you, Dan.
Well, if that's all they want to do is explore and not actually spread their crap religion to me, well, I'm fine with that.
It's not a crap religion, so it's fine.
Well, clearly it would be a crap religion because it wouldn't be my religion.
Someone in the chat's asking if a worship belief is required. Those are the ones that unlock the buildings. And actually, one of the interesting things about the religion system is you can sort of choose the order after your follower belief. You sort of choose what's important to you.
Right.
You can decide hey, I really want this building, or you can take a risk and kind of save that for later.
Right. So we're going to pull in our worship belief a little bit later. But eventually we'll have to get one if we're going to fully configure our religion.
Yeah.
Oh, and did we mention religious victory?
No.
There was only one YouTuber who broke the NDA, showed the victory conditions and stuff, and let loose that there was a religious victory. The majority and the bigger NDA breakers were those freelance blogging sites. Just basically said, what NDA? Whatever. I'm a freelance blogger. I'll do whatever the hell I want. Thanks.
I thought this was complimentary toilet paper.
Exactly. I really hope for the sake of the people who bothered to follow the NDA that 2K just refuses to work with those places that blatantly ignored it.
Mm-hmm.
That's exactly what you do. Someone may very well made a copy of that video, and then they go and upload it somewhere, and then it's a constant whack-a-mole. So it'd be nice if people actually abided by the NDA so we just avoid this whole messiness.
Yeah.
Religious combat.
My favorite happens to be Missionary Zeal, where religious units get to ignore movement costs of terrain. And then the other thing about Missionary Zeal is there is a new religious combat system, and Missionary Zeal is sort of like turbocharging all your religious units so they can, get to the religious combat faster.
And then in the official video, they moved on. They didn't talk about it anymore.
Yeah.
It's just like, whoa, what? No?
Well, there was theological combat came up in the theocracy government. You get a bonus for theological combat, which is what got a thread started on CFC. And people are like, what the hell is this crap? And then they found out, well, apparently, there's these apostles and missionaries and inquisitors can fight each other. They showed at the end of one of the PC Gamer N videos, it looked like two of the AI's apostle units went and smashed into each other and brought out a brilliant shining light, and then stuff happened. So it's not really explained per se, but apparently theological combat is using your religious units to go smash into each other.
Hey, why not? It is at least a little bit more interesting than walking something up to a city, checking whether or not there's a barrier there, and then pressing a button.
Quite frankly, I think this is Firaxis' way of following up on the April Fool's joke of extreme diplomacy.
Mm-hmm.
Extreme religions!
Yep. Or this is Firaxis hearing people about, oh my God, hey, look, the billion prophets and missionaries are coming at me. How do I deal with it? Well, screw it. I'm just going to declare war and capture them all and delete them. Now there might be some way to deal with it without actually having to declare war. Like, oh, you want to send a billion missionaries to Mir? Well, here's my inquisitor. Let's have a chat.
Yeah.
Now we can bring another new meaning in Civ to separation of church and state.
Another thing that I liked about the religion game is that the new religious lens that they have, it's just so much easier, at least I thought, to read, where my religion has spread, how much longer I have to converting another city or whatnot. Overall, I'm actually very impressed by the lens system in general, but this one in particular really stood out to me because that got kind of finicky in Civ 5, I thought.
I like the settlement lens that they focused on.
Yes.
While that settlement lens is on, any tile that is within 3 of a city, so not eligible for settling, gets color-coded with the red. The other thing to keep in mind is like oases, you're not allowed to build a city on them.
Right away, I think about new players to Civ. This is going to be very beneficial. But also at a glance, I mean, what I would occasionally do in Civilization 5 is I would turn on the hex grid.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes, because maybe it's because, Dan, maybe if you lowered your graphics card detail, the hexes wouldn't blend together. I'm so jealous of your graphics card. Well, you definitely have every right to be jealous of my graphics card, but that's beside the point. That yes, and it confirmed also that city settling distances for city workable tiles 3. That was nice to confirm, but this helps with your city settlement rules.
And let's face it, too, counting tiles sucks, because while it is not difficult, if you get it wrong, boy, does it really suck.
The other thing this lens does is tell you how much water is available there, which sort of establishes your initial housing level. And basically anywhere adjacent to the oasis or along a river is going to have the best housing. Along the seacoast is sort of a moderate level of water availability.
Right.
But like right in the middle, not next to any water source, we just have this like kind of white color coding just to show that you can settle there, but you're going to be really strapped for housing right off the bat.
Hold on. Let me ask you a question. Is there going to be water on hexes that are not coastal or river-based at all? Like, is there water from anything other than like, hey, look at the river? So, derp, there's water, obviously.
Besides oases and internal
or
lakes.
oases and in lakes and stuff. Is there going to be literally, oh, hey, you know what? This hex a couple tiles off still has quote-unquote fresh water because it's close enough to, say, that giant lake and the river on the other side, but it's not actually touching. So is there going to be considered fresh water there, or is it quite literally settled next to that lake or river or oasis or coast or whatever? Because it's that, then you really don't need a lens to know that there's water there because, well, you have the map to tell you.
Sure, but the big thing is it's just much easier to, at a glance, see, okay, I cannot settle there, and, okay, here are my options that would not be absolutely and objectively awful.
Of course, we have to assume that this is the AI thing. The AI also uses this, which means that if it's like Civ 5, with the settler choice location, then it's still going to suck and you're not going to want to use it.
Well, the videos that I was watching showed that it was pretty much just, hey, if you have access to fresh water, it'll be green. If you can settle there and it doesn't, it'll be white. And try not to drop a city there.
I think the lens is more about that point, as well as when you've got the other overlay of the city and coloring on top of it, and maybe you're also trying to take into account graphics level, or whether you're doing stuff in strategic view, however that's going to work, or just new players in general, that's seeing as how water is tied to housing, and we know housing is tied to growth, and that's tied to settlement, and they just put it in the same lens. So it's all in one lens. So you don't have to just like flip back and forth, so to speak. I agree that looking at the map, you get comfortable enough with the map, you can be able to tell at a glance. But depending upon what the overlay is, and especially maybe if they've maybe experimented with people having multiple overlays at the same time, just to help have that pop as well.
Well, I guess we'll find out. And of course, the buzzing does mention that they said you can build an aqueduct if you're one tile from a river or a mountain. So just in case you decide that some spot is better than settling next to the river itself, maybe you have some resources that are just a little further away. Then you can.
Gee, I can't imagine that ever happening.
Yeah. Hey, look, I settled, and all the good stuff is 4 rings away.
Yes.
Crap.
Otherwise, from the video, speaking of settling, number 1, city names. There is no deterministic list of city naming.
Yes. That was a great change.
After the capital, it is a random die roll of the next 10 cities. So no ready set way of knowing what city number a city is based on its name.
You know, memorize the list of names and be like, oh, that's city number 12. Crap, that's a huge empire.
Yeah.
When you go up to another civ and you notice, hey, this is America, and you see, New York or Boston, which was typically second or third in the city list, you don't know that that's the second or third city anymore.
Yeah.
It's not that predictable.
Diplomacy and talking to civilizations, because of course in Civilization 5 you can click on the cities, and if you want to determine how many cities they have, you just look at the number of cities and then add 1, because the capital never shows up on that list, because it would never be a possible trade option in the screen, or a spoil of war option.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess so long as that doesn't also appear, it's like, doesn't matter that you change the city name, I can just click on the cities tab in the and the diplomacy, but I do like that. Map generation. This is where, and it's come up before about continents, but I raised a little eyebrow at this.
We look at how many civs are in the game, and the rough rule of thumb is we should have a continent for every 2 civs in the game. Mm-hmm. But we chose the Pangea map script. So that is going to put everything in one landmass, but then what the game system will do is they'll divide them up into 4 continents.
So basically, don't mistake the word continents in Civ 6 for, continents.
Yeah, I mean, I understand why they're doing it, given the agendas that we know of certain leaders. And at the very least, yes, there is a lens color coding for that, but you can also, and this is probably what I'd end up doing, you mouse over a tile, and the tooltip will tell you the name of the continent. So if you want to know, oh, this is where this person's capital is it the same continent as I am? We just compared the names.
Yeah, basically, the way Pete said it, continents could be just change their name to plates. Plate tectonics.
Or any other word you want to use.
Yeah.
Continents.
Which already has a civilization-based naming convention for a lot of time. It does provide a small confusion that they could just use a different word.
I guess. I mean,
a different word that's indicative of something that is not different from reality as well, because a continent really means something else.
Well, now in fairness to that point, there is Europe.
Eurasia.
Yeah, you have Eurasia, Africa, which in Civ 4 is one continent, but...
Yeah, it's like, a lot of people will call the continent Eurasia, but you talk to anybody from Europe or Asia, and their hackles are going to go up when you say it.
Well, no, it's Eurasia is the landmass. Europe and Asia are different continents because they're on different plates.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
People brought up in the thread about continents. Well, there was mountains, and that's why yes, there's mountains there because 2 plates smash into each other. But that's really what we use for splicing continents out, reality. Hence why India is called a subcontinent, because it's on a mini plate that's basically slowly shoving its way into Asia. Stuff like that. That's why there are different quote-unquote continents.
And using the term Eurasia is also like using Australasia, which of course is Australia, New Zealand, New Guinea.
You mean Oceania?
Oceania includes Australasia, but it's not just Australasia.
Well, look, the point is that even our own real naming conventions are kind of messy, so I'm not exactly going to get up this company's butt for picking this particular term.
Well, yeah, it just could be less.
I don't know where else
confusing
you would want to
in-game.
be, though.
And of course, also tying back into how we've understood continents to be in every previous iteration of Civ. Otherwise, from here, I think one of the few things that hasn't been talked about yet, still also on map generation. Okay, let's go here. First off, from the video, the Mercury Luxury Resource has been identified and described as helping out the amenity situation. And I'm like, really? Again? With the amenities? Fine. More toilets. Thank you, Mercury. And then, of course, even though it wasn't specifically a part of the video,
unhealthy.
it's already been mentioned in the chat. Of course, it's come up in the community. Speaking of resources, there's another resource that was not seen in Civilization 5 or Civilization 4, wasn't seen in Civ 1 or Civ 2, but had a famous, or perhaps more accurately, infamous presence in Civilization 3. Welcome back, Saltpeter.
Screw you!
You bet Mackie would have appreciated this more than most.
Yeah. Welcome back, Saltpeter. Maybe we get modded out real quick.
If it'll deplete, then it'll be a good resource again.
Oh, no, yeah, Magin's right. The first mods, of course, obviously there's going to be Canada Civ, number one. There's going to be some mod that disables some mechanic or multiple mechanics that people don't like in Civilization 6. And, of course, the removal of Saltpeter. Those are going to be the top 3 Civ 6 mods in the first 6 weeks. Fact, after release.
It really does depend on if Saltpeter works the same way as it did in Civ 3, where it was...
It has to deflate. Lol.
Well, okay, but more specifically, it was the barrier. Like, all units after this use Saltpeter. And either you have it or you don't.
Mm-hmm.
So if it works like that, then yes, people are going to just get aneurysms and have problems. But if there are other units, like melee units and stuff like that, that don't require saltpeter, but can still be built, then it won't be as bad.
It would be nice if we actually knew that. It's like, okay, you've mentioned it, so now we don't have to go into like an essay about saltpeter, but saltpeter is useful for constructing blah. Saltpeter is useful when wanting to connect such and such, or whatever, just so that we have something else to go on other than, our own neurosis.
It also comes back to the map scripts. If it's going to be such a required resource, it better be everywhere.
And this is actually something that's worth pondering about, because apparently they want to make it so that iron, for example, say you have 8 civs, they want it so that 5 of them will have access to iron. The other 3 are either going to be screwed, or they're going to have to aggressively engage in diplomacy. So this is something that could be a concern.
And of course, as you said that, I couldn't help but hear diplomacy in quotation marks, because I'm a warmongering menace.
Well,
but
this may backfire, given that they have the better units than you do.
Well, how many of units have they fielded? Do they know how to use the units? Where are they positioned?
Oh, dear.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't ask about assuming positions, but,
Yeah, you assume something.
And then finally on maps from the official video, I would say talking about some city-states and some benefits that they can give you.
There's suzerain bonus. So they're a militaristic city-state. The militaristic type bonuses, which they all share, are +2 production specifically towards producing units. And the first tier is for the capital.
Helping us right now.
Yeah, definitely. And then the later tiers will help encampment. There is suzerain bonus if we happen to, maintain being their ally throughout the game. Our light and heavy cavalry units have additional combat strength when fighting on hill tiles. So Nan Madol, they're a cultural city-state, and they grants +2 culture to districts on or next to coast tiles.
I think lakes do count as coast, but neither of our holy sites districts that we've put in place so far are next to them.
Yeah, because we wanted them in the jungle.
Right. We love everything in the jungle. We got to totally embrace this Brazil mindset here.
Other gameplay videos showed off the fact that, yes, the city-states do have unique bonuses affiliated with their city-state. So it's no longer just this crappy, this type of city-state's going to give me +4 food. Yay.
I gotta say, though, +4 food, I don't think that's crappy, man.
May not be crappy, but it's boring.
Oh, we're leveling up. We're leveling up the city-states. Okay, that's fine. Make them more distinct. I'm good with that.
Yes.
Geneva might actually be a good pick. So they give +15% science to our entire civilization, which is very powerful, but they're a peace-loving city-state. If we are going around having war with people, even if other people are having war with us, that bonus is not going to kick in.
So it is tying, in addition to the specific type of city-state, and then I guess more specifically, what city-state it is, that it's also based on actions that are being taken or not being taken into the game, in addition to how well you're treating the city-state or not. I like this.
There's nice effects when you're the boss.
Yeah, that too. Like I said, it's really cool that they're making these things distinct entities now that actually have their own feel to them, as opposed to just, it's that annoying blob that may or may not do something useful but kind of boring.
Yeah, well, that's half of it, basically. Like, get +4 gold in capital. Get +2 faith in capital. Get blah, 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 blah. And then the next level is get +4 in commercial districts, or at the next level on top of that, get another 4 gold in every commercial hub. Yada, yada, yada. That's the boring part of it. The not boring part is the being the boss, the Caesarian. So like Toronto is in the game. It gets regional effects for your industrial zone and entertainment complex districts. Reach 3 tiles farther. Now, there's a statement that we haven't covered yet. Regional effects.
Pro tip, you want to have these districts if you're going to have a relationship with this city-state.
Cool. Yeah, I'm going to go get Toronto as my city-state ally, and then I'm never going to build industrial zones for entertainment. The key point is that there's a regional effect in industrial zones and entertainment complexes. And it's not just in the city itself. Of course, what the region is, how far that reaches, yada, yada, yada. But apparently Toronto gives you an extra 3 tiles.
I'm sure that's an effect that we'll probably get a greater appreciation of once we actually sit down and get our hands on this game.
Or find out just more.
I like, since we're talking about city-states, the fact that you can levy your allies' units now.
Yes.
That is awesome. Holy crap, city-states are finally something I'm actually interested in chasing down. That's amazing.
Yeah, but you actually have to pay for it, right?
I'm not sure. I think that, I'm pretty sure it's one of those things where you have to be the suzerain of that city-state. Yeah. Beyond that, I didn't catch any more requirements.
I think there was a screenshot somebody had that you had to pay. It didn't say exactly how much, but said that you had to pay to get access to units.
Let's be honest, it's probably worth the price.
Depends what they have, but yeah, could be.
Yep.
So maybe just generally, the price of the time to watch this live stream is worth it. In case you didn't pick up on that by this point of all the things we've talked about from this video.
Well, if you say worth, it's worth. That's the rule.
So there is an article, Steam community, for Civ 6 about active progression from, of course, Ed Beach, lead designer on Civilization 6. Active progression gives Civilization players the ability to speed up their progress through the game by completing activities in the game world. It is the idea that having your units and cities achieve successes helps Civ unlock technological secrets and build a strong society. Unquote. We've talked about this before, these moments where you progress, like the Eureka moments for the technology tree and whatever the equivalent term is for the civic stuff.
Inspiration.
Thank you. On CFC, Ryaka says, as far as I can tell, there's not a single bit of new information in here. It's true. However, as part of the description, what really kind of struck me, one sentence from this article, active progression had its genesis when the Civilization 6 team tried to look at the series' technology tree, which hasn't evolved much throughout the years, with fresh eyes. And it is true when we're talking about technology tree, but it made me kind of think about those things that you do in-game that can have an effect, kind of steer you towards a particular thing, like in Civilization Beyond Earth, where we didn't have a technology tree, we had a technology web. And we also had those mechanics that had some kind of impact, or the mechanic was there, but the execution really wasn't there. Between that and, of course, the obligatory comment, I'm going to give it to Thrangar on Steam. Sounds great, but just how well is the AI going to use this? Yes, well. Someone tried to make also the argument that, can we cancel the civilization where every player begins a game with an innocent settler, and it will develop its unique ability during the first several rounds of the game by exploring the environment and exploring the resources around it? In some aspect, this approach will take many choices away and force gamers to develop their civs according to the world around them.
That's the point.
Isn't that what we normally do? We look at the map and we can tell, do I have iron? Well, no, I'm going to have to go further. Do I have horses? Well, I'm not doing cavalry. Come on.
Well, and
Exactly. And you can choose not to develop the civ according to the world around you. It's
Yeah.
not, oh, you are on the coast, therefore, or you are near coast, you
don't
must
have to
settle
go
on the
boats.
coast. Yes, and you don't have to research sailing or whatever it is. First off, you can choose not to do that. It's just there is a reason for you to do that other than the fact that you're already on the coast, as if that wasn't reason enough. The game is actually recognizing, hey, you are taking the world's environment into account in your decision making, and you're gaining from that. You're not necessarily being penalized, strictly speaking, except I think you end up penalizing yourself if you don't actually take advantage of those things.
Well, and here's my personal preference when it comes to this sort of thing. If I'm going to have a theoretically infinitely replayable game with procedurally generated maps, if I can impose my single play style on every result, then that is a very boring game.
Well, yeah, exactly.
And you shouldn't look at the lack of getting these progression things in a particular game as you didn't have as good a start because you didn't get that thing. You have to make play style where you're reacting to the environment, but you're not thinking of yourself as being penalized because, oh, I didn't get that quest or this quest.
Yeah, I'm really digging what I saw of the active progression system. It changes things up a little bit more than just a simple, here's your array of resources for this run, have fun.
Support the ongoing PolyCast Patreon campaign.
Collective achievements.
Personal incentives.
Month-to-month commitment.
For more information, visit thepolycast.net/Patreon.
Call in today.
In North America, 301-637-7659.
In Europe, 44121-288-7659.
The only thing worse than being talked about is not being talked about.
Log on to the series' official website at
thepolycast.net.
Lauer, congratulations. You are now on the top 10 list of guests with the longest time between appearances on the show. It's true.
Yeah, that's an honor I'm not sure I particularly wanted. It kind of tells me you guys didn't miss me very much.
I blame
you heard
Dan. He's the one that gets all the co-hosts, and it's new people.
Yeah, Phil Dan's fault. Blame him.
Yep.
I'm going to be contrarian and side with Dan here.
Thank you,
because
Phil.
That's a lot of work, and Dan does it, and I appreciate that. So
Nice. There's not a Polycast we don't harass him at least a little bit.
That's true. But don't worry, Blauer, you're not first on the list. You're actually 7th, with 96 episodes since your last appearance on this show.
Wow, has it been that long?
Look, we gave you ample time to recover, so there's no...
Seriously, no. I mean, these shows are a lot of fun. So, hey, if you ever feel like you need a guest spot to fill, well, you know where to
In
find.
about 2 years.
Yeah, right.
Anyway, thank you for joining us for PolyCast episode 262. As usual, I am the me and team. I put the TMI in TMIT, and I've been joined by regular co-hosts Dan Q.
You've been flanked.
Yeah, Makalua.
I need to go stick my head in the freezer now.
Don't get it stuck. Imagine.
3 people just showed up to listen that were actually later than Mackie.
That's a special achievement.
We're also joined by guest co-host Flower.
Thanks for inviting me.
Speaking of reacting to the environment, I think there's a wind tunnel from Mackie.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was going to apologize for that when I first came on. Try not to melt, try not to wind tunnel. Sorry.
Wind tunnel, yeah. There's the requisite ditty.
And just like any Sid Meier's Civilization game, I know we're going to be out of time here, and we're going to have like 6 things that are about to happen.
But I want to wait till...
So we'll be like in the one more turn conundrum, but oh well.
Record date August 6th, 2016. Civilization 6 lives copyright 2K Games. Civilization 4, 5, and Beyond Earth sound clips copyright Take-Two Interactive. Copyright Civilized Communication at civcom.net.